Necessary Roughness by Marie Lee, Chapter 2. According to our espionage reports, it was Abogi's brother who got us into this mess. Even though Young and I aren't allowed in on family affairs, we managed to piece things together, especially since the walls that separate the rooms in our house are as thin as rice crackers. Let me back up to give you a little history. Abogi and Oma came to America when Young and I were 3. Abogi had been a chemist, so he wasn't too thrilled with Oma's idea of opening a grocery, even though his PhD friends Mr. Park and Mr. Lee also had stores. But when he couldn't find a position in chemistry, he went along with Oma's idea, grumbling all the way. Oma named our store Kim's Green Extravaganza. We sold all sorts of veggies and fruits and went mental about keeping them extra fresh. The moment something got even a little soft or had one tiny little bruise, we either gave it away to friends or took it home. To this day, I'm haunted by the spongy taste of overripe apples. The other thing about the store was that we sold stuff our customers needed. Soup for one, tiny cans of cat food, cigarettes, fat-free cookies. Oma even went so far as to ask for suggestions. Abogi complained that people would think we didn't know how to run a business. But the stuff Oma ordered from people's suggestions almost always became regular sellers. I guess we were doing pretty well because Abogi's mom and his brother Bong eventually came from Korea to live with us. At first, I wasn't too thrilled to be sharing the house with 2 strangers, but Grandma Halmoni grew on me. She padded around in her stocking feet, and when I came home from school, I could hear her singing wafting through the open windows. Some of my best memories are of sitting with her in the kitchen. Young would be at her flute lessons, so it was just Halmoni and me, surrounded by pungent Korean food smells, ginger, garlic, sesame oil. She would chop, smash, fry, and boil like a maniac when she told me stories about animals, why frogs croak in the rain, how the Rat King found the perfect husband for his daughter. Bong told stories too. They were all about this guy Joker Kim, who can't stop himself from doing weird and or stupid things, like he'd pick his nose and then get bummed when a glop of snot fell in his rice. Young and I hated it when he'd call us over and say, "Did you hear the one about when Joker Kim went to the bathroom?" I always had the feeling Abogi was not thrilled with his brother either. It was clear that Bong cared only about Bong. He never made his bed. He splattered toothpaste all over the bathroom. The closest he ever came to helping with the dishes was one time when he brought his glass within 100-yard vicinity of the sink. At the store, he wasn't much better. Once, a whole crate of clementine oranges disappeared when he was supposed to be watching them. But Abogi just made his regular guy, Manuel, pick up the slack. Abogi let Bong do his thing all the way up until he stopped showing up for work. Then Abogi fired him. After that, Bong just drifted in and out of the house, sometimes disappearing for days at a time. Occasionally, he'd come in with his face looking like a bruised piece of fruit and smelling like he'd been smoked and pickled. Everything in the house somehow managed to stay its course until Halmoni died. I think Halmoni kept a lid on whatever grudges lurked between Abogi and Bong. Once she was gone, I could hear them arguing long into the night. Bong started reading these magazines, Small Business Owner, Entrepreneur. He left behind the toilet in the bathroom. One day he announced that he was now the proud owner of a convenience store somewhere up in Minnesota. The next thing we knew, poof, he was gone, and we had some peace. Of course, the next thing we knew, poof, Bong turned up in Korea with some scheme about pizza-making robots he'd found through an 800 number. Hello, it was so important he didn't have time to tell anyone, didn't have time to sell the store back in Minnesota. He promised that one day he'd be rich and pay everyone back. It was at this point that Oma found out Abogi had loaned Bong a wad of money to buy the store, a franchise. In fact, Bong had convinced Abogi to basically stake him all of the money since he didn't have any of his own. That was when Young and I got the news that we were moving. Abogi keeps telling us that he's been looking for an excuse to get out of LA anyway. It's too crowded, too many merchants getting shot in their stores. The new place is going to be quiet, safe, secure. A small town, good schools, no more big city problems. It gets to me that Abogi even pretends he's doing this for Young and me. Oma is always saying, "Your father sacrifices so much for you. Look at how hard he works at the store. It's all for you children." If that's true, then he doesn't have to do this. He could sacrifice less, and we could stay in LA, and that would be fine with me. I would have said this out loud, but I knew no one would have listened.